Everybody, hello, welcome to Between the Covers. My name is Bradley Shaw, and this evening we're talking to Bella Paige, who's author of the new series True Colours, which is, the Second Chance series. The first book is called True Colours. Sorry, Bella, how are you this evening?
Good.
It's good, thank you for joining us. So tell us, what is True Colours, the first instalment to the series about?
It's about a state that houses, an young, I call it heiress, that creates an estate and a foundation that helps abuse, neglect, and homeless children. She started off as an idea and then went from there. Wonderful. It's a lot to put into that one little thing. It's a lot more than an estate, but it's without actually going out the whole novel. I don't know how to explain that. The estate's a big part of it.
Sorry?
The estate for the neglected, abused, and what's the name? Children is a big part of it.
Okay. So the main character, the protagonist, like how did you craft her? What was her model and design?
Ariel.
Yeah.
How did I craft her? I don't know. She pretty much came out of thin air. I'm trying to remember how I came across the book, and I don't know, in my 20s when I wrote it, I was big on all those charities of helping abused children and all that type of stuff, and I must have listened to songs or something, and then she came along, and I started her off as an heiress because I figured the money would be a lot easier that way to start her charity and stuff like that, and it just grew. So
so it's totally fiction. Have you been exposed?
It's totally fiction.
You haven't been exposed to work in that sort of environment previously?
I actually have a diploma in child youth and family intervention, which I started midway through, I think just after I wrote that novel, before I started writing the second one. Because I wanted to go into those backgrounds and actually get an inside look to it.
So what happens to this young girl's journey? Like what propels her? Give us a few snippets without giving away all the prizes, but just a few motivations.
She comes across a abandoned rec centre that her best friend in the book, Faith, knew about, because on her, I don't know, what do you call it, beat cover, whatever the cops call it, they often go across, and she discovered these children and wanted her friend, who she knew had money and could do something about it, to pick them up and see what she could do with it. And she found them in an abandoned rec centre, and that's when the idea started. She goes, oh my God, have we really got that big of a homeless problem on the streets? And she wanted to do something about it, and that's where the foundation and the estate came into place.
Great. Did you do a lot of research into that sort of treatment?
Yeah, Google's my best friend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were exposed to that sort of environment, like you met some of the children in the story style and situation on this research? Or?
No, I don't really know a lot of abandoned children, but growing up, I do know a few from the abused background, so that's probably where that touched on a bit. So not as bad as the characters in the book, but similar lines, yeah. And but it's not based on anyone.
Yeah, good. That's nice to know. So tell us about the most challenging aspects then for writing this book. Well, it's your first book, wasn't it? Your first real novel, or did you?
It's the first book along that type of lines, but I actually do have a series. I did write a cop series. That's my first lot of books. But this one, what was the question again?
What was the challenge in writing?
Writing about abused children.
Yeah.
That's not easy, and that's why I didn't cross some of the lines. I didn't want to cross sexual abuse and that type of stuff, because I just couldn't get my head around writing that type of stuff. But writing what's happened to the kids and stuff, that was really, really hard. Yeah.
So this is more the cleaning up, the pick up, the helping them recover from their experiences, not so much the experiences involved in it. Yeah.
I do the flashbacks and stuff in some of the situations, mainly with Bae, because she's one of the main characters, with what happened to her and what her father and all that type of stuff did. But I tried to, what would you call it, sail over some of the other stuff.
Yeah. So when you were writing, how many hours are you able to write a week? Like, how do you set your schedule, or do you plan a book out? Like give me an overview of your writing process. Tell us all about it.
Well, when I wrote this book, I was working retail, so I had a lot of spare time. These days, not as much.
Yeah.
But it could vary. I could go up to 8 hours a day, or like an hour or two at night. It all depends. Once you're in the zone, you're in the zone. Like I sometimes even forget to eat until my stomach got hungry in a weird part of the book where they shouldn't be hungry. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to go eat. So, yeah.
Do you sit on them and fester the ideas before you write, or do you just sort of write it and then try to construct, put it all back together once it's finished?
I will write a section of the book, and then I will write a whole timeline thing out, and then I'll write character overviews out, and like I have an image of what they look like and their likes, their dislikes, their favorites, the family connection, all that type of stuff. Like I've got documents and documents saved up on, I need like 4 screens just to have them all, so I can look. I actually used to have a murder board when I did my crime series, whiteboard that I'd have like the whole case laid out and everything like that. So
wow.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to construct that book, like to write a first draft? Well, just the time frame is.
True Colours, I think, was pretty quick. I think I did it within 6 months.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
And with all that outlining and chapter construction and stuff, so sitting down and actually writing the book physically, getting it out in 6 months. Well done.
Yeah. And then I leave it, don't touch it for about a month or 2, then go and reread it, see if I actually like it, change stuff. It originally had a lot more time and date stuff through it, but I got rid of all that because I'm like, that looks too darnge. So
yeah. So do you edit a lot when you do your second draft? Do you go back over it heavily, or are you?
Yeah, I'm like, what was I thinking when I was doing that? And yeah, so I do. I've edited about 2 to 3 times. I've had it on like websites and stuff, and nothing's really pulled from it. And I ink it. I think is it Ink it? Ink something, a website with they seem to like a lot, and it's got a lot of positive stuff there. People down the bottom saying need some minor editing and stuff like that, but it's a really good book. And yeah, that's where Samantha came along and put up a lot of stuff, and apparently she hates the word that and I apparently use it too often.
Yes, you've got to be careful. Some of those we get favorites, people have a lot of that. The is my guilty weapon. The all the way through it. So was there a lot that you took out of this book? Like, do you feel you've kept the best stuff? Like, it's a fairly big book as it is, but did you take a lot out of it to start with as well? And how hard was that when you're
I think I've actually kept a lot from what the original was.
You did? Yeah. Good.
If you think this one's big, you should see the one I finished writing a couple of months ago. It's another extra 100 pages longer.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So in the writing process, if I can ask, this question for authors is interesting because, and I ask it just out of a general sense, some have no difficulty, some do. Did you find writing characters of the opposite sex difficult? And not just in this book, but other books. So just in that general sense of trying to make them an authentic male character. Did you have any issues or challenges with that? Did you get any feedback on those sort of characters?
At the start, yes, but my brother and I were living together at the time, and I'm like, would a guy do this? And I'd ask him a question, and he'd answer back. I sometimes do it to my partner and go, how would you react to like this? And then that's how I get okay, you're different, so yeah.
Of course. Well, having resources like that, most people do say they write on their husband or their wife, but then I don't think that's a fair judgment because, there's sort of a bias there. I think if you're going to make a general, like you've got to make a unique character, I think, the voice in that male role too, because men and women are so different in capacity.
I watch a lot of movies, and if I like a character in a movie, I'm like, okay, they do that. And I try not to make the men too feminine or the women too feminine. It's trying to find that line of each character because they're all different.
Oh, absolutely. It is a challenge. I agree. And that's what I was asking because I'm just really curious. Some people are really great at it. Some people hate it. They just think, I'll just write all women. So do you reflect or write or incorporate yourself into your stories or books, characters? Like what do you tell us a little secret of where
there's mannerisms.
Yeah.
Like there's certain things, like if they drink tea a certain way or add something to a tea, like Ariel, she likes to add mint chocolate. I had a habit when I did that for like 2 to 3 years. Yes, that's a part of me. But there's other stuff, like a lot of my female characters will hate coffee because I don't like coffee. And the men one will because all the guys I know drink coffee. So a lot of them are like that. Some I will like, they can't all hate coffee. I have to put one in there with one liking coffee and write that on my little sheet so I know that she likes it and she doesn't like it.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, there's a few little things. I'm very, with my main characters, maybe most of them having blue eyes because I have blue eyes and stuff like that, and the opposite character having different color eyes. Yeah, my partner's got brown eyes, but yeah, just little things I'll pick up and put in there. Big family. I have a big family, so
Well, that's
good at writing multiple characters' personalities.
That's good. Yeah, you've got a big family, so you've got a lot of drawing people in the circle. So is your family really supportive of your writing too?
Mum and dad always have been. This, you can do whatever you want and stuff like that. And they boast about me all the time, telling everyone. And I found it recently. My partner's been telling all his work people, "Oh, you got to buy my partner's book." But yeah, no, mum and dad have always, they always said, they boast that, "Oh, I've got this author daughter." I'm like, "I'm not famous yet." So, yeah, I love it.
So, did you suffer from, or do you find the writer's block is a problem? Do you ever have it? Have you had it? How do you get over it? Tell us about a writer's block experience.
I've had it for like a year and a half before.
Yeah.
In between two of my books, I'm like, I just had no passion or anything to write anything. Just went around to doing all the normal stuff, and it is tough. But if I sometimes get in the mind where I haven't done anything for a while, I like turn the computer off, like go watch a movie, go TV, go for a walk, just watch people, just do something to trigger something.
Yeah.
But yes, it is real and it is hard. And Google is a big distraction.
Facebook.
That's bad.
So do you, are you one of these people that can write in a cafe, or do you have it write quiet? Do you have to have certain music on? What's your writing environment that you find most suitable, most inspiring?
I'm not big for writing in public. It will be like on the couch or in my partner's office with it here, but I will have the music cranked and sometimes even in my ears so I can ignore the entire world and stuff like that. I really do need to be in my own little space. Because people walk past you and they'll look over your shoulder and I'm like, it's not done yet, go away.
Yes, it's hard in a relationship because your partner wants to read as you're writing and be supportive.
Annoying.
And you go, and they don't understand. They've got to wait the whole 6 months before they get to have a look at the whole thing. You don't want to give them a half a chapter and then they chase you down for 3 months. Where's the next chapter? Drives me crazy too. I agree. So
my brother used to just say, "I'll wait till the movie comes out. I'm not reading your book."
Well, that's right. Yeah, just the movie's going to be better, don't worry. Yeah. So if your book was made into a movie, who would be playing your main character, do you think?
If I could get them exactly like the people that I designed them on. Ariel is, have you ever watched Gilmore Girls? Rory from Gilmore Girls? What's her name? Alexis Beadle or something like that. That would be Ariel, but I think she's getting a bit old now. I based Noah off Chad Michael Murray because they played together in Gilmore Girls many years ago. Okay. So I like their chemistry. Reed is Channing Tatum.
There you go.
Channing Tatum.
There's a visual I can okay, I've got that one now. Good.
Yeah.
I didn't know the other actors. I'm not familiar with Gilmore Girls. I'm a little bit.
Faith is Amanda Siegfried, I think her name is. She was a young blonde from ABBA, the ABBA movie. Okay. Yep. Yeah. And then
big eyes as well. She's got the big eyes too.
In my novels, I'll actually refer to sometimes an actor or an actress, and you like there's similarities too, and then you see, oh, okay, so that's what they look like. Yeah. I do have the whole cast in my head, but I don't know if they would fit the role.
So is that subliminal for the producers of the movie when they read the book? They go, oh, hang on, we could put such and such. Yeah, that's a good idea. The author's already told us. So if I can ask, when did you find, like you said, you've written a cop series, and I mean, you're relatively, like, you're only very young. So you've written a cop series and you've written True Colours. So when did you decide you wanted to be a writer? Were you writing through primary school?
I always liked English, and I think the first thing I can remember of the first book, or the first copy of a book I ever wrote, we had some project for one of those Ronald Dahl books. I think it was the one where Charlie something or other, so they Marvelous Medicine or something. Okay. We had to do like a rewrite or our version of it, and then it meant to be like 100 words or something, and I ended up doing it like 1,000 or 2,000 words, and the teacher's like, "You've got to cut this." I'm like, "Wow, it's so good." So
awesome.
I think I was like about 10 or 12 then. I liked it, and then after that in high school, I was dabbling with it, did a whole lot of stuff, but I couldn't even tell you. On some floppy disk, I couldn't even tell you where that stuff is anymore. I've got like storage boxes of like notepads of old books and stuff that are written there. But when I was about 20, 21, no, it was before I moved up to Brisbane. I was 21 in Brisbane. I was about 19. I started writing my crime series, and I think I'm 4 books in and finished it on, I haven't touched it in a couple of years, but I think I started True Colours when I was about 23 or 24. Right. So a while ago.
Yeah. Wow, no, you've done great being young. But I guess that's the story element, age needed too in the story. It's about a young girl involved in helping younger people in a situation and developing her own maturity through that help. So it's quite a good message for people too, in the sense, perspectives. I liked in the book. So with that, you've got. So you've always loved writing. So is it a plan you want to have something as a strong element of development in your life as writing, or is it more just some people just write, the story one or two, and then they hit other things?
Picture life without writing.
Yeah,
it's like breathing to me. Like it's just something I always go back to doing. It's an escape. I can get away from reality and just focus on a fictional world and control things. I'm just like control things. And I can control what they're all doing. And writing to me is just pretty much like breathing. I wouldn't know what to do without it.
It's the God complex. I know. I have it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so being this developing writer, you've published the Cop series as well as this first book. This is the first book we've published with you.
It's on Amazon.
Yeah. Do you hear from readers? Do readers respond to you? Are they taking on your writing and they enjoying it?
On that Inkit one, I should remember the website. The one I was telling you about, True Colors has got really good on it, and I pretty much hold the Crime series pretty close to the chest. I've got on Amazon stuff. I've only put Still Standing on it because everyone's like, I want to see more of your work.
Yep.
And it's gotten some positive reviews and stuff, but it hasn't had the biggest hit as the other one has.
Oh, good.
So I don't know if it's just because the other one's a bit more of a romance and what people prefer, but I haven't been on that website in ages, so I should really see what the comments are.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good you're getting some feedback and some presence.
Yeah, no, I always tell people if I give them a PDF copy of the book, I'm like, please, feedback is required. I would love to know what you think of it. Stupid, what needs to be changed.
That's good. So what do you hope readers get out of True Colors when it comes out, like when they get it?
An understanding of the actual abuse, child and neglect problem that we do have in Australia and do have in Queensland and stuff like that, because it is out there. Like there are so many organisations that support it. The Smith Foundation, Our Family Foundation, the Act for Kids and all that. They all do it. So that's why I just kind of trying to shed a light on it to get more people thinking, okay, and if they do see something, say something, don't walk by.
Absolutely. It's ignorance isn't bliss.
I'm a big advocate for kids.
No, that's good. So tell me about, so we've got, what's your schedule like for writing presently, like on your next book? So you've got a plan for releasing that, because naturally True Colors comes out. The fans are going to want to see something else coming out. So what's your plans? I'm
probably a quarter way through the sequel, maybe. I'm keep trying to go back to it because I'm doing something slightly different. Like it's focusing a bit more on the house and the other kids that are coming in. And I was about to say something that almost gave a lot of stuff away, but I didn't. It involves, Reed and his mother's cold case, and reflects more. So the main characters in that one, like Ariel will be like a side character kind of. The main characters will be like Reed, Faith, Faye, Andrew will make some appearances, and then the kids that are actually in the house. And I've hit on a few other topics because I've always hit like homosexuality, but I've got a trans kid there and I'm trying to get into the mindset, but I don't want to ruin it. So I might just do a little bit with it, but not overdo it to, so someone goes, oh, you don't understand. So I'm trying to get an understanding of it. But it's really hard. I've done like a lot of research and just blows my mind.
Together.
So I think I'm a quarter way through that novel, depending how long I want to make it.
Well done. Does writing exhaust you or invigorate you? Some writers say that they get the buzz. Some writers say, I just do it because I have to. I allocate the hours. I just do it as a discipline. I don't want to do it. What do you find happens when you
I do it to relax.
Really?
Like if I'm having a really crappy week at work or stressful and I'm like, I want to get out of my head and do something, I'll just open my laptop and just write.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you write such emotive or emotional content. Like it's not like you're just writing to daydream about being on the French Riviera with some beau who's long-haired and muscular. You actually write some very heavy, engaging and emotional, draining. Even to read it, some of it is. Sorry?
I want people to connect with the characters. Like if there's a character in my book sobbing their heart out, I'm probably doing the same as I'm writing it. It's quite entertaining to watch, but I go back and read my book and I'm like, oh, that's funny. And like, that's what I want people to do. Like read something.
Do you cry when you're writing it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in some parts.
It's a really sad scene.
So much. Yeah.
If it's a real sad scene, then yes, I'm crying with the character. So yeah. Colors is not easy to write in parts, but
No, it can be very draining, especially if you're on that part. You know, the part that has to be, and you just there's parts where you don't want to write it, but you know it's going to be great, and you have to, and you want to get it right, and you just get so immersed.
With those parts, after I'm writing it, I literally have to close my laptop, take a step away, go do something, come back before I can get any other mindset to write any other part of it.
It's totally detox, totally like shake it off. I understand. So, what's your writing like kryptonite? Like what stops you from writing? And keep it clean. There could be kids watching.
Google, Facebook.
So really, just you try to limit distractions. Like it's a online, like you're getting lost in that. Social media can be. You can spend an hour there and not even realize. I've done it before. I go, wow, hang on, I better get some work done. But yeah, so you've got this. What else distracts you? What other things would you say is your kryptonite? Like life in general.
Yeah, when work is really hectic like it is at the moment, I'm too drained to even pick up my laptop and try to write something. So I'm hoping over holidays. It might take me when we go over to Perth and see if I can get some writing done then.
Wow.
I find that the best time to write, but when I'm really stressed out and work stuff, I just can't do it. It just drains me completely.
Well done. So again, what's the for you, is there a difficult part of the process of writing? So like, you know, the drafting, the editing, the proofing, the rewriting, the ending of a book is the hardest part of the artistic process.
Usually, because I can usually get a starting or a middle down and I'm like, how do I want to end this? And I'll usually change it about 50 times before I'm happy with something.
It's really interesting. A lot of writers will say the start, that first paragraph or first line, or where to start the book. Where do you put the reader into the story? Where do you put them to start the story? You know, do you go way back? Do you bring them up to the moment? Do you do that and then flashback? You know, so many writers say the start. It's interesting to say the end because that's interesting. So do you don't, when you're planning it out, as you said earlier, do you know that end? Do you have a line? Do you go, okay, this is where I want to get to, but then you're saying it changes? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, sometimes. When I start a book, I won't even start off with a timeline. I'll just start writing, and I'll probably get 2 to 3 chapters in, and I'm like, oh, I better start planning this out. So then I start jotting things down, planning it out, and then I'll write a guess to what I want to happen, and then if it changes, it changes. If it doesn't, then I've got something to write towards. Otherwise, the ending, sometimes I don't know until I'm writing it. Like the current one I just wrote, I was going to write like another 100 pages with it, and I'm like, that's just going to go on and on and on. And then I have my laptop and I'm like 2-3 pages later, I'm like, whoa, I just finished it. What happened? And that's the one I want to do the spin-off series with, possibly aimed probably a bit more towards teen, which it kind of actually loops into this book because Ariel makes an appearance.
Okay, good. So with that in mind and all the construct of these books, do you, when you're thinking about it consciously, do you try to write to be original, or are you trying to write to that theme you know readers want you to keep, like the consistent formats and the processes of genre? Or do you want to have, you know, your work just be a distinctive uniqueness in it as well? What's important to you in your writing?
I couldn't care what other people think, and that's me, but I just write what comes naturally. Like if I followed a genre, my genre would be romance, drama, crime. What else is in it? Political. Like it's got like that many genres shoved into it. I don't think it sits in a certain category. It's like there by itself. It's like, oh, okay, this is. I call it, I think, Aussie crime and drama, romance, family. That's the tags I use because that's how I see it. But
now, for everybody watching, that's a whole new genre. We've just made that up. That's just her unique niche.
It's called the BP genre.
Just Google that anywhere you want. Again, that's really good. So with that in mind, like having that sort of vibe or feel in your writing, and you've got a big family. On the other side, do you have friends that are writers that help you, that you're involved in groups or parts where you get that professional feedback or peer feedback, or how do you involve yourself with that element as well, or do you not? Do you just stay back out private and do it yourself?
I follow a ton of Facebook groups that have like amateur authors, young authors, writers of Australia, writers of Queensland, writers of Brisbane. I try to follow all those because I like to see people's feedback. I give them feedback on their covers and anything they post and stuff like that. That's happened if they gave me feedback on my covers and stuff like that.
Good.
I have a few friends that write, especially earlier on. I'd read her stuff, she'd read my stuff, we'd critique each other. I used to write fan fiction. And people really like the stuff I wrote in fan fiction and stuff like that. So, I do many see many pages, see many groups, do talk to people and stuff, but
Good.
probably am at a lot probably am at it a lot on my own. I often tumble on words too. It's just my brain and my mouth.
I'm half tempted not to edit that out. I think I'll leave it. I think for the audience, I'm going to leave that in there. There you go, Bella Paige, as she is in real life, the raw woman. All right. So when in your early writing stage, in your younger, when did you find that your writing had some sort of power? You identified that the teachers were quite impressed, but also worried that you'd written so much for such a short story. But when did you realize through other people's feedback or other ways your words could actually have changes or impacts to people's?
When I was writing fan fiction, I did a lot of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Castle, all those type of shows. And people were like, oh, this is really good. We're connecting with it, I understand what they're doing. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's when I asked those people, hey, you want to read something I've actually written? And when it gets the positive feedback, I'm like, oh, okay, I might actually be able to do something with this.
Yeah, and that helps you, of course, grow and feel good about it. What about the negative feedback? Did you find it, are you one of these that takes a constructive, or do you just go away, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you? Or do you really get involved?
Depending what movement I'm in. Negative feedback, you're going to get that no matter what. But the main negative feedback all I can rely off is pretty much the fan fiction I used to write, and that Inkit page was just it wasn't really that bad actually. It's mainly like it needs a bit of editing and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I know that, and that's where you guys come along. But I don't think I've actually really received a lot of negative feedback yet. That's not making sure no one actually sends me a lot. But I don't know how I take it.
Here's your email on the bottom of the screen. Just send it all to Bella, bellapage.com. Just send it through. She loves it. She wants to read it.
It all depends on what the negative feedback is. I'd take each one the way it is, but it's like you take it with a grain of salt. It's this person, what do they call them, a keyboard rose or something? They just want to be negative. I hate people like that on Facebook. Like, you don't need to put people down if you don't have to.
It's their cause and their purpose, and we let them live in their bubble, and that's okay.
Exactly.
We just get on with our world, I know. But again, constructive criticism is important, and that's, of course, like you say, while people like us, thank you for that reference, by the way. You mean people like Shoreline Publishing?
No, yours were actually
supporting your book and putting you out there and helping you become. Geez, people like you.
Everything that Samantha did was actually pretty good, because I realized I use the word that too much, and there are some other terms, and apparently I'm pretty bad at using the American slang, because I want this all based in Australian slang. There's some things I didn't even realize that were classed as American.
You're so exposed to American media that really, my nephew plays Minecraft, and he's only 2, and he speaks in an American accent, like he just because of the languages he hears on the shows on YouTube. It's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's not all the time doing it, but he's picking up American language.
American. He goes, you sound like an American, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that's what we're exposed to, and that's good that we're identifying you as an Australian author, because that's important for your potential growth as well.
Yeah, it's based here on the Gold Coast, so I'm like, it's got to be as Australian as possible.
Good. And to ask you a question, and feel free to blow, smoke up my skirt. How have you found the publishing process? So have you worked with us? Have you worked with other publishing houses before? Have you worked? Okay, yeah. You don't go there then. I don't want to bring up anything.
No, it's all right. It's a really big warning for a lot of people actually, because I did go to I can't remember all their names.
Again, people like that. What is wrong with us?
A few, no, you call them, I don't know if they call them, was it finishing publishing groups or something like that? Like, I so much money towards all these people, and then when I knew you guys were actually halfway legit, no offense.
Well, the people watching, I think we're a lot more legit. We'll get that. That's in the next video.
You guys actually contacted me, and there's been this open communication stuff. All these other ones I just get an email, and they. Like a couple of weeks later, my book's up on the website. There was no, here's our editor. She's gone through your book and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, I was back in my 20s. I'm like, okay, maybe this is how it happens. And maybe my book is that good. It doesn't require all the editing. And it's just like a lot of the online publishers. I just tell people to be very careful of and do your research and stuff like that. But I have had a lot of bad ones.
Good. Well, one of the things I about us is we really want to focus on Australian authors and help you stay in Australia, build Australian platform, and then launch from here into the world. And it's really, as you say, there's a lot of those elements out there that are catching people out and costing time and credibility for writers that you can't get back. And that's why it's important that you've taken yourself seriously enough to get the professional support. And I really appreciate that as much as you appreciate.
Avoid American ones that just
That's
are signing out there and they're just, yeah, crap.
Mine, stay away from anybody overseas.
Yes.
My recommendation to everybody watching, stay away from anyone overseas for now, because Australia is where you belong and who you are. The book theme doesn't have to be Australian though. We do publish books about other places in the world. But
I know.
Again,
I just read so many about all the places of America, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
barely read any about Australia. It's like some in Sydney and all that type of stuff. I'm like, where's the Brisbane, the Gold Coast ones? And that's why I'm like, I'm going to base my books here. So
That's right. Good girl. Like that idea. Do that. So with that in mind, what would you say is your interesting writer's quirk? Do you write in fluffy slippers? Do you have to, sit in a certain angle or have your computer facing a certain way, play certain music? What is a quirk that you would have that's special to Bella? Besides referring to your publisher as you guys.
Jeez.
Just for the record, I was a little bit hurt.
Shoreline is the best publishing group in the world.
Oh, I got it on tape. Hey, did you hear that? I'm going to use that. It's quoted.
Quirk. Half the time when I'm writing, I'll just be in my pajamas. I really don't care to change.
It's usually probably late at night.
I don't know, writer's quirk. I will write anywhere, like mainly to the lounge room and the laptop, because I write off a laptop. I'm usually like laying halfway up, the laptop's laying like this and I'm typing, so just
So sort of a morgue sitting, is that what you're saying? You're upside down?
Kind of, legs kind of up against the cushion and laptop against the knees and just writing. Like it's hard to find a comfortable position when you're writing for like 4 to 5 hours plus. So
yeah, so Bella, everyone watching, does yoga while she's writing upside down with her laptop attached to her chest somehow.
You'll rarely find me sitting at a computer to write.
Yeah, but some people write in cafes. I can't do the noise in cafes and environment in cafes. It's very distracting, especially on the key plot point when the waitress comes up and says, "Would you like another coffee?" I'm like, go away, are you kidding me? Anyway, so having said that, and I love all waitresses, don't get me wrong, the waiters and waitresses. Everybody's great in a cafe. So with future plans for your books, we've got the True Colours Second Chance series. What else can we expect from that? You said there was a spin-off, which was exciting.
Yeah, I've recently finished a book called On the Couch with Ali. It's going, that one's a side spin-off to True Colours, and we shouldn't say the name of the current. Actually, no, I think I have decided on the name for the spin-off, which is going to be Cold Case. We'll see if I stick with it.
Very cool.
Yeah, because it brings up a lot on the cold case of the disappearance of Reed's mother that is mentioned slightly in True Colours and stuff. So that one, and then On the Couch with Ali is like a kind of side spin-off thing. It's still based up here on the Gold Coast, and she's a like online blogger type writer thing, and she interviews Ariel on behalf of the foundation and stuff like that, and that they go into a project together, which I'm not talking about yet. But yeah. What was the question again? Just tell you about the books.
Just the other future parts of your writing coming up for us. Give us a teaser, but that's great. So that you've covered that, don't worry. You've answered it. I think you've just got a little bit entwined in the answering. That's okay.
Well, I'm trying to say what to say and what not to say because I've completed it. I know how it ends, and I just don't.
You don't want to give away everything. We know. Yeah. You got to keep close to the chest, upside down on the. We get that. So, do you have, for those watching that haven't done or haven't disciplined or created themselves as a writer yet, but want to learn from this exercise, what advice would you give to the people up and coming or looking to take the steps you've taken or learn from your steps?
If you're really passionate about writing, find time for it. It is hard, especially with reality, if you're like working or if you have a family, or luckily I don't have kids yet, but if you have a family and if you work full time or if you work part time, all the distractions, if you're really passionate, just find time.
Yeah.
Beware of published companies like online, just because it says, we're one of the best online self-publishing authors. Be careful. There's certain questions you do look for, but support groups on Facebook and all that, they are great. People will give honest advice and they will literally tell you if the company is bad or not.
Good.
There's actually websites, which I think one of the ones I found yours because I actually used it before I signed up with you guys because I was just not going down that road again.
Yeah.
And it tells you the good ones and the bad ones, the legit ones. So, can't think of anything else.
Well, I agree. I think for new writers in the marketplace, not only about writing, if they're looking at being seriously published, I think you've got to talk to the publishers. There's got to be communication. There's got to be a transparency. I think if you can't get that connection as to the agency helping you in publishing,
red flag.
Then run, because there've got to be people involved with people. It's a personal project. Your work is your personal baby. You've created it. You want to see it out in the market, the best place. You want to be respected, and you want to be presented in the best way in the market. So you need that backing. And as a writer, you've achieved that. I think for new writers, they should look up to you. And I think when they get a copy of your book, which is out in February, so we're very excited about this coming out for everybody. So it's available everywhere books are sold. So it's online and in bookstores and libraries, and other centres perhaps will do. We're not sure yet where we're going to put it in the market for some of these centres and self-help elements where, as she was talking about, the perspectives of living on the streets. But
it's hard.
But we will be, putting it out there for you. So Bella, thank you for your time tonight. It's wonderful to talk to you and to hear all those anecdotes and stories and plans, and and being those guys that are supporting you, I'm very happy about it. So on that note, people, buy the book, True Colours, available everywhere. Books are sold, and we thank you, and we'll look forward to Bella Paige's next book, maybe through those guys at Shoreline Publishing, or maybe through someone else. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, have a great night. Merry Christmas, because we are recording this before Christmas, people, by the way. And we hope everyone has had a wonderful, a better 2021 coming up. Merry Christmas to everyone, and to you, Bella. Thank you, and have a good night. Now.